Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Raggedy Ann Red, and today we are going to dive into the wonderful world of houseplants. I'm going to share some tips for you guys who want to have houseplants and keep houseplants as a hobby on a budget. So if you're not on a budget, this might not be the video for you, but if you want to save a little money, this is the place to be. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the actual plants. Yes, there are some beautiful plants everywhere, but if you want to save money, stick to the common house plants that you find in your grocery stores and your local home improvement stores and different things like that. Those plants are just fine and they're beautiful. But if you have an itch and you really want some more exotic plants, you can do that as well. I really wanted a pink princess philodendron, which a few years ago, that was like the rave. Everybody wanted one. But I was not willing to spend a lot of money on that because I just have this thing. I feel like if it's something like a plant where it's living and I've spent a lot of money, I'm going to be very upset if it dies. So I spent $11 on a small cutting, which when I got it, it was that tall. I got it in 2023. This is what the plant looks like today. So that's an option. Buying a small cutting on places like Etsy or finding some of the local trade groups. You can go on Facebook and find local groups where people like to trade their plants. Some people may even give plant cuttings away for free. And then also tell your loved ones, hey, I am wanting to get more into houseplants, so buy me houseplants. So if you got a special occasion coming up, maybe it's your B-Day, it's Mother's Day, they can buy you a houseplant instead of other things. And so there you are, you can save money that way. So we talked about the houseplants. The second thing that we need to talk about is the soil that we grow our plants in. Now you can buy all the fancy soil blends. I've done it. Right now I got different things I'm mixing up. But a long time, the only thing that I bought was potting soil. So go buy you some basic potting soil and then buy you a bag of perlite. What the perlite does is you add it to amend the soil and it makes it drain easily. It makes the water be able to move through easily, and it also allows for oxygen to move around the roots, which is going to help the plant grow and to help the water go where it needs to go, which is the flow out. If you buy a bag of perlite, you can use it and you can add as much perlite as you need depending on the plant's needs. So if a plant needs to have really well draining soil, add more perlite. If it doesn't and it likes to have more moist soil, then you won't add as much. But this is a definite way to save money. I bought this in 2023 and it's still a decent amount in here for the number of plants that I have. The next thing, where are we going to hold our plants? We need pots, right? I see all these nice, beautiful pots. Some people like to buy all the matching pots, and that's great, but that can get expensive. What you can do to save money is just buy some basic nursery pots. You can buy a big set of them. I had 3 different sizes. I bought these 2 years ago, and I still have a decent number of them. And they have a lot of holes in the bottom, which is good. You want holes in the bottom of your plants so that the water can drain out. If the water has nowhere to go, you're more likely to lose your plants to root rot. And so these pots already have the holes. You don't have to punch holes in the bottom. They're already ready. The good thing about these are, if you have plants that are fast growing, you don't have to worry about spending so much money, because that's what happens. We get a plant and it grows big, and then you're buying more and more pots, and it can become overwhelming. These are cheap. And most plants, if they really flourish, a lot of them are going to end up covering some of the pots anyhow. So you're not even going to be able to see it. So You don't have to spend a lot of money if you don't want to. Um, the good thing about these two is that I I I'm able to just reuse these. When I have some cuttings, I just, when the plant's done, move it to the next size, and then I still have these left over and I can use them again. But again, I recommend doing this. This is my, actually just started using nursery pots a couple years ago, and they've been the best because, like I said, they have the drainage holes, and that's the most important part, is to keep the plants alive. It doesn't matter how pretty the pots are if you can't keep the plant alive. The next thing that I want to talk about is the water. Now, I know some people use bottled water and stuff, but most of us, or many of us, have tap water that is sufficient, meaning it's okay to use for most or many houseplants. Now, what I've taken empty milk jugs, soda jugs, juice jugs, clean them out really well, put the tap water in, and then just left the cap off the top. Let the water sit for 24 to 48 hours. After that, the chlorine has pretty much evaporated out of the container. And so because the chlorine can actually have a negative effect on some plants, this just makes the water better to use. It's the cheapest way, and many plants are okay with just tap water. Some are very sensitive, but try not to get those plants if you're on a budget. Another thing that you can do that's even better is when it's raining, collect the rainwater. The rainwater it's got everything in it from nature that you need. Collect that in some buckets, bring it in, and then use it on your plants. Again, you don't have to spend money on that. The next thing I want to talk about is actually to monitor the moisture. I know people use moisture meters. I tried to use one. I had one for a year and it stopped working. And honestly, it wasn't even accurate when I think back to it. The cheapest thing is to use your fingers. Or you can use wooden sticks, popsicle sticks, anything that you can take and you can just stick down into the soil if you don't want to get your hands dirty. But if you got plants, you got to get your hands dirty, okay? But you can stick it in there and just touch, see if there's any moisture, if anything's collecting, and that'll be a way for you to really gauge how much water your plant needs, if it needs to be watered at that time or if you need to wait. Putting your hands down there and getting dirty is the best way. That's how you learn. And you will definitely learn over time when your plant needs water and when it doesn't. Another thing that I want to talk about, I like my pink princess. You see this stick, this wooden stick. I made it, of course. It doesn't look commercial. But I know a lot of people recommend moss poles for climbing plants. I like moss poles. I have some. However, they can be expensive to make. So if you want to save money, you can go see if you got some wood in your yard. If you don't have scraps of wood in your yard, in your house, go to a Home Depot or so forth. You can get a piece of wood cut down and just stick it in your pot. Find a way to attach your plant to that stick and you got it. I just had this wood line around. It's a real thin wood used for crafting. I had it in my house. I hadn't even been using it, and so I just decided to use it for this purpose, and it's working fine. So if you got house plants, you got water, you got all these things, these organic, materials, the soil and all this, you may end up having pests. Pests, there are many products that you can buy, many things that you can make, but if you're trying to save money, try to find your all-in-one product or multi-purpose. So like this one is a multi-purpose fungicide, insecticide, and a miticide. It's a 3-in-1. I used it for my indoor plants and outdoor, and it works just fine. Have this on hand though, because you never know when you'll have pests. I've never had pests on my indoor plants, thank goodness so far, but I have had pests outside, and it was really useful to have this. So we talked about the soil, the type of plants to get, how you can protect your plants from pests, but we also have to feed our plants. Over time, the plants will need to be fed just like we need to be fed. Sometimes we need vitamins and supplements and things so that we can reach optimal health. Same thing for plants. You can buy different types of fertilizers, plant foods, but if you just get an all-purpose plant food for indoor plants, it's more likely sufficient. This type, if you have flowering plants, it's not going to help with the flowers. But for most house plants, you're not really worried about flowers anyhow. But just having this a bottle of this around is helpful. I've had this, I think, for 2 years, and it's still, I got about that much left. So, not that much money. And I'm trying to think of what else. The last thing, where are you going to sit your plants? If you have money, you can buy plant stands, right? But all of us don't have the money to do that. So, you got to have somewhere though to sit your plants. You can either find places on your furniture and ledges, places to hang your plants. And if you have old furniture, like I right now am using a changing table that I use for my baby. No longer using it, and now I've converted it to a plant stand. I'll try to put a picture of that so you can see it. But doing things like that, changing the purpose of furniture can help. And if you don't have any old furniture yourself, you can always join some of the local groups on Facebook or other places and see if people are selling old furniture, like cabinets and things that can be turned into plant stands, or they're selling old plant stands. So again, you don't have to spend a lot of money on plant stands. I mean, but if you really want to buy something, they do have, there are some inexpensive or relatively inexpensive plant stands on Amazon, or you can, check out your local stores like the Walmart and stuff and see what they have. But yeah, you can look at your furniture too and just see if you can use that. So I hope that you've enjoyed my video and that the tips are going to help you. March is here. It is time to start working on them plants. So please use this to save some money. Even if you are a plant expert, there are things that you can do to save a little money. Okay? Having houseplants doesn't have to be expensive. It does not have to break the bank if you don't want it to. But if you want to, that's fine. Whatever you want to do. But I hope that you like my video. Please like, subscribe, share my video, and I hope that you return to see my future content.